Welcome back to our spine-chilling series, where we delve into the eerie unknown and uncover the spectral secrets hidden within the world's most haunted institutions. In this third episode of Most Haunted Schools and Universities in the World, we journey beyond the chalkboards and lecture halls to explore the shadowy corners of academia, places where knowledge is pursued but spirits linger, refusing to fade into oblivion. From centuries-old universities steeped in tradition to modern schools with tragic histories, these institutions serve as both centers of enlightenment and crucibles of despair. Schools and universities are inherently liminal spaces, thresholds between youth and adulthood, curiosity and understanding, aspiration and reality. Yet, beneath their polished facades, many harbor dark secrets, unsolved murders, devastating fires, suicides, and even darker deeds that defy explanation. These events leave an indelible mark on the fabric of the buildings themselves, creating environments ripe for paranormal activity. Ghostly apparitions roam deserted hallways, disembodied voices echo in empty classrooms, and unexplained phenomena disrupt the quiet hum of study sessions. For those brave enough to tread these haunted grounds, the line between learning and the supernatural blurs, offering encounters that challenge logic and reason. In this episode, we'll step into some of the most infamous educational institutions across the globe, places where history and horror intertwine. We'll hear first-hand accounts from students, teachers, and paranormal investigators who have encountered the inexplicable, examine chilling evidence captured during ghost hunts, and unravel the tragic stories that give rise to these hauntings. From a British boarding school plagued by whispers of war-torn grief to an American university haunted by the restless spirit of a wronged professor, each location holds its own unique tale of sorrow and spectral unrest. So dim the lights, sharpen your pencils, or maybe grab a flashlight, and prepare yourself for a descent into the macabre. As we step into the haunted corridors of these schools and universities, remember, sometimes, the most terrifying truths lie just beyond the veil, and once you cross it, there's no turning back. Winchester College, the Phantom Scholar of Hampshire. Nestled in the picturesque town of Winchester, England, Winchester College stands as one of the oldest and most prestigious schools in the world. Founded in 1382 by William of Wykeham, the institution has long been synonymous with academic excellence and historic grandeur. Its sprawling Gothic architecture, ivy-clad walls, and serene courtyards evoke an atmosphere of timeless scholarship. Yet beneath its hallowed halls lies a darker narrative, one steeped in tragedy, betrayal, and spectral encounters that continue to haunt both students and staff to this day. One of the most enduring legends tied to Winchester College revolves around the enigmatic figure known only as the Phantom Scholar. According to local lore, the scholar was a brilliant student in the late 16th century whose life ended under mysterious circumstances. Some versions of the story claim he was accused of plagiarism and driven to suicide after being publicly shamed by his peers. Others suggest he died in a duel over a disputed honor. Regardless of the truth, his restless spirit is said to wander the college's labyrinthine corridors, forever searching for vindication or redemption. Students residing in certain dormitories report strange occurrences linked to the Phantom Scholar. Many describe hearing faint scratching sounds emanating from the walls at night, as though someone, or something, is frantically scribbling notes. Others recount waking up to find their textbooks rearranged or pages marked with cryptic symbols and phrases written in Latin. One particularly chilling account comes from a former student who swore he saw a translucent figure sitting at the foot of his bed, poring over a leather-bound book illuminated by candlelight. When he attempted to speak to the figure, it vanished without a trace, leaving behind only the faint scent of parchment and ink. Another prominent site of paranormal activity is the Chapel Quad, a tranquil courtyard surrounded by ancient stone buildings. Witnesses claim to see a shadowy figure pacing anxiously near the chapel entrance, often clutching what appears to be a stack of papers. Some describe feeling an icy draft pass through them as the figure drifts by, accompanied by the sound of hurried footsteps echoing across the cobblestones. Paranormal investigators exploring the area have captured EVP recordings suggesting the presence of a male entity whispering fragmented sentences like, "I must finish," and "They don't understand." The school's library, housed within the iconic schoolhouse building, has also gained a reputation for supernatural activity. Employees tasked with cataloging books often describe hearing muffled voices and the sound of pages flipping rapidly, though no one else is present. Objects are known to move inexplicably. Pens vanish only to reappear hours later in entirely different locations. A particularly unnerving incident involved a librarian who swore she saw a young man dressed in period clothing standing in the far corner of the room, his face obscured by shadows. When approached, he dissolved into mist, leaving behind an overwhelming sense of sorrow. Modern-day investigations into Winchester College's supernatural claims have yielded intriguing results. Thermal imaging cameras reveal significant temperature drops in specific areas, including the chapel quad and the library. Electromagnetic field (EMF) meters register unusual spikes, particularly near antique furniture pieces believed to have belonged to original occupants. Perhaps the most compelling evidence comes from audio recordings, which capture disembodied voices uttering fragmented sentences like, "Help me prove it," and "I can't stop now." Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, Winchester College continues to draw curious souls eager to immerse themselves in its storied past. For those brave enough to explore its corridors, the possibility of encountering the phantom scholar adds an element of excitement and trepidation. Whether you're drawn by the allure of its architectural splendor or the thrill of peeling back the layers of its enigmatic history, Winchester College promises an unforgettable experience where the line between the living and the dead blurs, and the echoes of yesterday linger just beyond reach. Heidelberg University, shadows of war and unfinished research perched atop the rolling hills of Baden-Württemberg, Germany. Heidelberg University stands as a beacon of intellectual achievement and historical significance. Established in 1386, it is the oldest university in Germany and one of the most renowned institutions in Europe. Its picturesque campus, framed by the Neckar River and crowned by the ruins of Heidelberg Castle, exudes an aura of scholarly prestige. Yet beneath its idyllic exterior lies a darker legacy, one shaped by centuries of conflict, loss, and spectral unrest. One of the most haunting tales associated with Heidelberg University revolves around Professor Heinrich Keller, a brilliant physicist whose groundbreaking research came to an abrupt and tragic end during World War II. Keller, known for his work on quantum mechanics, was rumored to have been developing classified projects for the Nazi regime. As Allied forces closed in on Heidelberg in 1945, Keller allegedly destroyed his laboratory and all his research before taking his own life in a desperate attempt to protect his discoveries. Decades later, his restless spirit is said to haunt the very halls where he once taught, unable, or unwilling, to let go of the unfinished work that consumed him. Students and faculty members report eerie encounters linked to Keller's ghost. Many describe hearing faint tapping sounds emanating from sealed-off sections of the physics department, as though someone were conducting experiments in secret. Others recount finding blackboards mysteriously filled with complex equations overnight, despite no one having access to the rooms. One particularly unsettling account involves a graduate student who claimed to see a gaunt figure clad in a tattered lab coat pacing anxiously near the old lecture hall. When approached, the figure vanished into thin air, leaving behind the acrid smell of burning paper. The university's library, housed within the majestic old university building, has also become a focal point of paranormal activity. Visitors browsing the stacks often feel an inexplicable sense of dread, as though unseen eyes are watching their every move. Books are known to fall inexplicably from shelves, while others report seeing shadowy figures hunched over reading tables, their faces obscured by darkness. Some claim to hear faint whispers reciting scientific terms or pleading for help, adding to the unsettling atmosphere. Adding to the university's haunted lore is the legend of the Phantom Choir, believed to be the spirits of students and professors who perished during the 30 Years' War. Historical records indicate that the university suffered greatly during this tumultuous period, with many lives lost to famine, disease, and violence. Modern-day witnesses describe hearing ethereal singing drifting through the courtyards at dusk, accompanied by the faint strains of organ music. Others report seeing translucent figures dressed in period clothing gathering near the chapel, as though preparing for a service that never begins. Paranormal investigators exploring Heidelberg University have documented numerous instances of unexplained phenomena. EMF detectors routinely spike in certain areas, particularly near the physics department and the library. EVP recordings capture faint whispers delivering fragmented phrases like, "Save my work," and "We're still here." One particularly chilling discovery came when a team member set up motion-activated cameras overnight, capturing footage of a translucent figure standing motionless in the library before vanishing without explanation. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, Heidelberg University continues to attract curious souls eager to confront its spectral inhabitants. For many, visiting the site serves as both a pilgrimage and a reckoning, an opportunity to honor the lives lost and acknowledge the atrocities committed in pursuit of knowledge and power. Whether you're drawn by the allure of its haunting beauty or the weight of its tragic legacy, Heidelberg University offers an unforgettable experience where the past refuses to fade quietly into obscurity. Ohio State Reformatory, where education meets despair. While not a traditional school or university, Mansfield's Ohio State Reformatory occupies a unique place in the annals of haunted educational institutions due to its role as a vocational training center for inmates. Opened in 1896, the reformatory aimed to rehabilitate offenders through education and skill-building programs, blending penitentiary function with pedagogical purpose. However, its noble intentions were overshadowed by decades of brutality, neglect, and untold suffering, transforming the facility into one of America's most notorious haunted sites. One of the most pervasive legends tied to the Ohio State Reformatory centers around the tragic death of Warden Arthur Glatka's wife, Helen. In 1950, Helen accidentally discharged a handgun stored in her husband's office, mortally wounding herself. Her ghost is said to haunt the warden's quarters, appearing as a pale figure clad in white. Former inmates and staff members report hearing faint sobbing emanating from the room where she died, accompanied by the sound of footsteps pacing restlessly. Some claim to see her apparition gazing mournfully out of upstairs windows, her expression frozen in eternal anguish. Another prominent figure in the reformatory's haunted lore is believed to be a teenage boy named Joseph, who died under mysterious circumstances in the early 1900s. According to local lore, Joseph was sent to solitary confinement for minor infractions and never emerged alive. His spirit is said to linger in the basement cells, where visitors report hearing faint moans and rattling chains. Some claim to see shadowy figures huddled in the corners, their faces obscured by darkness, while others describe feeling an oppressive weight pressing down on them as they approach the door. The reformatory's chapel, once a sanctuary for reflection and prayer, has also gained a reputation for paranormal activity. Witnesses claim to see a shadowy figure resembling a priest standing near the altar, his hands clasped in silent supplication. Others report hearing faint hymns sung in languages unfamiliar to modern ears, believed to be the dialects spoken by those who sought solace within its walls. At night, when the chapel is bathed in moonlight, some visitors swear they can hear the distant clip-clop of horses and the low murmur of conversation, as though a procession from another era continues to traverse the span. Modern-day investigations into the Ohio State Reformatory's supernatural claims have yielded intriguing results. Thermal imaging cameras reveal cold spots concentrated near the chapel and the warden's quarters. Electromagnetic field (EMF) meters register unusual spikes, particularly near antique furniture pieces believed to have belonged to original occupants. Perhaps the most compelling evidence comes from audio recordings, which capture disembodied voices uttering fragmented sentences like, "Help me," and "Let me go." Despite, or perhaps because of, its grim history, the Ohio State Reformatory continues to attract curious souls eager to confront its spectral inhabitants. For many, visiting the site serves as both a pilgrimage and a reckoning, an opportunity to honor the lives lost and acknowledge the atrocities committed in pursuit of reform and redemption. Whether you're drawn by the allure of its haunting beauty or the weight of its tragic legacy, the Ohio State Reformatory offers an unforgettable experience where the past refuses to fade quietly into obscurity. Peking University whispers beneath the pagoda located in the heart of Beijing, China. Peking University stands as a bastion of intellectual achievement and cultural heritage. Established in 1898, it is one of the country's most prestigious institutions, renowned for its contributions to science, literature, and politics. Surrounded by lush gardens, tranquil lakes, and ancient pagodas, the campus exudes an aura of serene beauty. Yet beneath its idyllic exterior lies a darker legacy, one steeped in political turmoil, personal tragedies, and spectral unrest. One of the most haunting tales associated with Peking University revolves around the legendary Weiming Lake, a picturesque body of water nestled at the center of the campus. According to local folklore, the lake is home to the spirit of a young woman named Mei Ling, who drowned herself in the early 20th century after being rejected by her lover. Her ghost is said to haunt the shores of the lake, appearing as a translucent figure clad in flowing robes. Students studying late at night near the lake report hearing faint sobs carried by the wind, accompanied by the splash of water rippling against the banks. Others describe seeing a pale woman staring mournfully into the depths, her expression frozen in eternal anguish. Another prominent site of paranormal activity is the university's library, housed within the iconic Boya Tower. Visitors browsing the stacks often feel an inexplicable sense of dread, as though unseen eyes are watching their every move. Books are known to fall inexplicably from shelves, while others report seeing shadowy figures hunched over reading tables, their faces obscured by darkness. Some claim to hear faint whispers reciting Confucian texts or pleading for help, adding to the unsettling atmosphere. Adding to the university's haunted lore is the legend of the Ghost Pagoda, believed to be the spirits of scholars who perished during the Cultural Revolution. Historical records indicate that many academics were persecuted, imprisoned, or executed during this tumultuous period, leaving scars that run deep within the campus community. Modern-day witnesses describe hearing ethereal chanting drifting through the courtyards at dusk, accompanied by the faint strains of traditional instruments. Others report seeing translucent figures dressed in period clothing gathering near the pagoda, as though preparing for a ceremony that never begins. Paranormal investigators exploring Peking University have documented numerous instances of unexplained phenomena. EMF detectors routinely spike in certain areas, particularly near the library and the lake. EVP recordings capture faint whispers delivering fragmented phrases like, "Save my work," and "We're still here." One particularly chilling discovery came when a team member set up motion-activated cameras overnight, capturing footage of a translucent figure standing motionless in the library before vanishing without explanation. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, Peking University continues to attract curious souls eager to confront its spectral inhabitants. For many, visiting the site serves as both a pilgrimage and a reckoning, an opportunity to honor the lives lost and acknowledge the atrocities committed in pursuit of knowledge and power. Whether you're drawn by the allure of its haunting beauty or the weight of its tragic legacy, Peking University offers an unforgettable experience where the past refuses to fade quietly into obscurity. Patterns across haunted schools and universities, themes of tragedy and resilience as we traverse the haunted landscapes of schools and universities. From the opulent halls of Winchester College to the somber grounds of Heidelberg University, striking similarities emerge that transcend individual locations and histories. These patterns are not merely coincidental but reflect universal themes of human emotion, unresolved trauma, and the enduring power of memory. From the wailing wards of sanatoriums to the shadowed basements of courtrooms, these sites share a commonality that binds them together in a spectral sisterhood of sorrow and suspense. One recurring motif is the concept of unfinished business. Whether it's the victims of unethical experiments, or the betrayed trust of patients subjected to inhumane treatments, these spirits seem tethered to the earthly realm by grievances left unaddressed. Their presence manifests as restless energy, often communicated through auditory phenomena, cries, whispers, or disembodied voices, that serve as pleas for acknowledgement or closure. This theme resonates across cultures and belief systems, reflecting humanity's innate need to resolve conflict and seek peace, even in death. Another shared characteristic is the role of architecture in amplifying paranormal activity. Historic buildings, with their labyrinthine corridors, thick walls, and hidden alcoves, create environments conducive to isolating individuals and heightening fear. These structural elements act as metaphors for the psychological barriers erected by those who suffered within their confines, trapping emotions such as anger, despair, and regret. It's no coincidence that many reported hauntings occur in spaces imbued with emotional significance: operating rooms where surgeries went awry, basements where bodies were stored, or wards where patients met tragic ends. Lighting and sensory manipulation also feature prominently in these narratives. Flickering lights, sudden temperature drops, and inexplicable odors are staples of ghostly encounters, designed to disorient and unsettle. Such phenomena strip away the comfort of familiarity, forcing guests to confront the unknown. The use of mirrors, a recurring element in stories from various haunted hospitals, adds another layer of psychological tension, as reflections distort perception and blur the boundary between self and other. This interplay of light and shadow becomes a tool wielded by unseen forces, creating moments of visceral terror that linger long after the initial shock subsides. Finally, the prevalence of historical context cannot be overstated. Each location's haunting is deeply rooted in its unique past, shaped by the socio-cultural milieu of its time. The brutal medical practices embedded in the DNA of older establishments contrast sharply with the glamorous yet tragic lives immortalized in urban legends. Yet both narratives tap into broader archetypes of ambition, betrayal, and mortality, ensuring their resonance with audiences regardless of personal experience. By drawing on these universal motifs, these haunted places transform from mere buildings into living repositories of collective memory, inviting us to peer into the abyss of our shared humanity. Thus, while each establishment boasts its own distinct flavor of fright, the underlying threads connecting them reveal a tapestry rich with meaning. These patterns remind us that the supernatural is not so much about the entities themselves but the stories they tell, the echoes of lives interrupted, passions extinguished, and truths obscured. As we continue to explore these haunted locales, we find ourselves grappling not only with the specters of the past but with the timeless questions they raise about life, death, and everything in between. The psychology of fear. Why haunted schools captivate us? What is it about haunted schools and universities that grips our imaginations so profoundly? Beyond the creaking floorboards and flickering lights lies a deeper allure, one rooted in the psychology of fear and the human fascination with the unknown. These sites, by their very nature, are places of vulnerability. They are where we confront our mortality, stripped of autonomy and control, relying entirely on the expertise of others to heal us, or where justice was denied, leaving wounds that refuse to heal. When these spaces become haunted, they amplify our primal fears, transforming familiar settings into arenas of existential dread. The combination of historical context, architectural design, and the lingering presence of past suffering creates a perfect storm of terror that resonates deeply within us. At the core of this captivation is the concept of liminality, the state of being on the threshold between two worlds. Haunted places exist in this liminal space, bridging life and death, health and illness, hope and despair. This inherent duality makes them fertile ground for supernatural narratives. Ghosts, as manifestations of unresolved trauma or unfinished business, embody the tension of being caught between states. They serve as reminders that the boundaries we construct, between life and afterlife, sanity and madness, are far more permeable than we'd like to believe. For many, visiting a haunted site feels like stepping into a twilight zone where the rules of reality no longer apply, igniting both curiosity and unease. Architecturally, haunted places contribute to this atmosphere of dread through their design. Long, sterile hallways lined with identical doors create a sense of disorientation, while poor lighting and echoing acoustics heighten sensory awareness. These features mimic the psychological effects of anxiety and claustrophobia, making even mundane sounds, a distant cough, the hum of fluorescent lights, feel ominous. The labyrinthine layouts of older structures, with their hidden wings and underground tunnels, evoke feelings of entrapment and uncertainty. Every corner becomes a potential threat, every shadow a possible harbinger of danger. This environmental manipulation taps into our instinctual fight-or-flight response, keeping us perpetually on edge. Cultural influences also play a significant role in shaping our fascination with haunted places. Media representations, from films like The Shining to television series such as American Horror Story, have cemented the trope of the haunted asylum, courthouse, or battlefield as a locus of horror. These portrayals often blend historical truths with fictional embellishments, creating a mythology that blurs fact and fiction. Audiences are drawn to these stories because they reflect societal anxieties about institutional power, systemic injustice, and the fragility of the human mind. Haunted places become microcosms of larger fears: the loss of agency, the misuse of authority, and the haunting specter of mistakes made in the name of progress. Moreover, haunted places appeal to our desire for catharsis. Engaging with these tales allows us to process our own fears about mortality, injustice, and the flaws inherent in systems meant to protect us. By confronting ghostly apparitions and unexplained phenomena, we externalize internal anxieties, transforming abstract fears into tangible adversaries. This vicarious experience provides a safe outlet for exploring the darker aspects of human existence, offering both thrill and relief. It's no wonder that ghost tours and paranormal investigations of haunted places attract participants eager to test their courage against the unknown. Ultimately, the enduring allure of haunted places lies in their ability to mirror our deepest fears while challenging our understanding of reality. They remind us that the past is never truly buried, that pain and injustice leave indelible marks on both people and places. As we walk their haunted halls, we are forced to confront not only the spirits said to inhabit them but also the ghosts within ourselves, the regrets, doubts, and unanswered questions that linger long after the wounds have healed. In doing so, we find a strange comfort in knowing that we are not alone in our fears, that others have walked these same paths and emerged, shaken but alive, to tell their stories. As we bring this chilling journey through the most haunted schools and universities in the world to a close, one thing becomes abundantly clear: the spirits of the past refuse to be silenced. Each creaking floorboard, each whispered name, and each fleeting shadow serves as a testament to lives lived, lost, and lingering in the spaces we dare to call haunted. These stories are more than mere campfire tales. They are fragments of history, stitched together by human emotion, tragedy, and the relentless passage of time. They remind us that the line between the living and the dead is far thinner than we might believe, and that sometimes the most terrifying truths lie just beyond the veil. But why stop here? If these accounts have stirred something within you, a spark of curiosity, a shiver of excitement, I urge you to take the next step. Visit one of these haunted schools or universities yourself. Walk the same halls where spirits are said to roam, stand in the rooms where history's echoes reverberate, and let the unknown brush against your senses. Whether you're a skeptic seeking proof or a believer eager to commune with the other side, these forsaken institutions offer an unparalleled opportunity to confront the mysteries that lie just beyond comprehension. There's nothing quite like experiencing the weight of decades-old despair firsthand, feeling the chill of a presence that defies explanation, or hearing the faint strains of voices from another time. And when you return, share your story. Did you feel the icy touch of a ghostly hand? Hear the faint tap of footsteps in an empty corridor? Or perhaps nothing happened at all, but isn't that silence just as intriguing? Your experiences add to the rich tapestry of lore surrounding these haunted places, ensuring their legacies endure for generations to come. Share your findings with fellow enthusiasts, document your journey, and keep the conversation alive. After all, every whisper contributes to the symphony of the supernatural. Until then, keep your lanterns lit and your courage steady. The spirits are waiting.